Bitcoin topping another all-time high. Today we're going to break it down for you guys on the live stream. So of course, stay tuned. We're going to get into some charts and also into some very key things that could be driving the market. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Let's get started today. I do want to thank our sponsor, Coinbase. Go over and take a look at Coinbase. This is a place where you can begin your crypto journey. Very easy. You get 50 bucks in Bitcoin. Very simple to sign up right now. Future of money is here. And you can do this for business and individuals. So if you log in, you'll learn right there on individuals, and then you can tab over to businesses and actually start holding coins on your own business account. So check it out. Use our link down below to help the channel. All right, let's go over to a couple of topics. I want to lead off right here with Kobeisi. Of course, the big deal is it's official. First time in history, the Ukraine, of course, has just launched long-range U.S. missiles into Russia. This is a problem because it has escalated the war, and of course, this will most likely start to put some activity into risk assets and gold as we start to see the market move. You look right here, gold and Bitcoin jump as war jitters spur a little bit of a flight to the safest market. And I think this is the thing that will factor in. Again, most of this could be resolved with a Trump White House. This, of course, is a situation right now that's unfortunate that this has already been, timing is just not right. So hopefully this will all play out in a good way going forward. I want to go to a clip real quick because this will give us a little bit more of where we are in the market outside of that issue and how this may be going a little bit longer. Take a look.
I mean, we don't really look to short-term, fluctuations too much, but I do think we're at a time that we need to start to worry a little bit. It's been a little uncharacteristic. Maybe I've been a little more, in fact, a lot more bullish over the last 2 years because I think we're sort of in this Goldilocks zone right now. I kind of feel like we'll remain in it a little bit more. I think we're going to look for a little more euphoria. But I think that we're still part of this boom-bust cycle, and I think that that's kind of an inevitable thing that we're in.
But next year, maybe not so much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we have to, lag effects are important in this business. And I think it's easy for us to forget that. And it's kind of the reason, lag effects are the reason Bernanke, for instance, got so blindsided at the GFC. And what Goldilocks zones are the sort of when you're in this immediate effect, positive environment and this sort of overlapping lag effects that are kind of coming. So I think that's where we are right now.
Go ahead.
The boom and bust effects, is that ever since the COVID pandemic when things went down, or are you talking about broader boom and busts?
Definitely broader. I mean, I think that ultimately boom and bust cycles are caused by monetary policy. And, we can't put the genie back in the bottle from what really started at the GFC. And I really think that's what's driving everything ultimately.
I would agree with that. And of course, we had Darius Dale on yesterday to talk about this very issue. It was more of a macro comparison, but it lines up very nicely with where maybe the crypto and the risk markets are going. Again, this could play out a little differently if you believe that Bitcoin could become kind of this new stage for a lot of countries to be involved. You look at the month-to-date returns right now in November, almost 30% in November. Bitcoin now is November 2020, let me kind of zoom in on that for you guys a little bit. The performance, which closed with a full month of almost 53% upside in the month of November. So if that is the case, we still could see a little bit of juice, and it's very possible we could see 100K Bitcoin in November. And I remember when we had Mark on not too long ago, and Mark Yusko, he was talking about Thanksgiving could be the timing. Very interesting. That's just here a week away. So interesting stuff coming out there right now. Fear and greed. This is another one that's interesting to me because remember back here in March, and in fact on, what was it, March the 11th, we had a 92. That was the high on fear and greed. Currently the market holding at 84, and Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high at 94K. So this is a very overheated market. The question is this ready for altcoin season moving in? And I think that is the big question everybody's asking right now. What does altcoin season look like? And right now we are in a heat up phase right now. Altcoin season is still way down here into this red zone, a ways away. I think, and that might be the case right now. And of course, this looks at a lot of different indexes for quite some time. It's been somewhat accurate when you look at this tracker, but I always love those. Make sure and drop some comments over on the sidebar. We'll try to get some questions for you guys today. Hit the poll while you're here. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure and do that. Just go out there, hit subscribe right now. There's a little bell right there. There's 3 options. You want to get one to notify you when we do these live streams, because right now is the most important time in the market. This next 90 days, I think, is going to make millionaires out there for sure. And it's all going to be based on how quickly you can understand what's going on in the market, both from a macro standpoint, but also from the individual projects themselves. NVIDIA is another one to watch right now. We have earnings coming in close. I think it's after close tomorrow night. It's officially earnings week. Of course, a lot of this, people are looking at price action accounting for about a 20% of the S&P's 500 performance. NVIDIA will affect some others out there too. And there's many other stocks that could be affected in the Mag 7. But I look at this more from the AI side of things in the crypto market. So Render is probably the #1 token that I think has bearing on this. We talked about that the other day, and it's also why we've been watching Render do some pretty positive things here recently. I want to go to another clip here. This will get into the expectations that the market thinks is going to happen with NVIDIA. Take a look.
Expectations are for a beat for NVIDIA. And I think in some ways, the reason why expectations are so high is because the cloud companies have actually given us NVIDIA's earnings already, right? It's like 50% of every dollar of CapEx is being spent on an NVIDIA GPU. Cloud CapEx went up by 9% this quarter in aggregate. So we expect fairly high bar for like them beating, because that's, that's what they sell, right? Big debate in the market right now, right? It's like, everybody's looking around. We've spent $500 billion on AI infrastructure, and everybody's looking around and saying, where are all the applications?
Right.
What are the use cases for this thing? And what is the ROI? And the natural conclusion is that, look, there must be some kind of like slowdown coming. But I think what people are missing is that these cloud companies are investing for their existential relevance over the next 20 years. Do you think Google or Amazon want to be your second or third best large language model out there?
Yeah.
So they're pressing ahead, and I think this question about ROI is a good one, but I think there are other factors at play right now.
I kind of look at it a little bit differently. You know, I kind of grew up in the tech field in Silicon Valley, early programming, worked with Microsoft, with a lot of this expansion of architecture. And in the era when PCs were first hitting the market, many people kind of thought the same thing, that there was going to be a slowdown both of microprocessors, but the advent of what we were going to see at that time, AMD going to be the new kid on the block. And guess who came around? It was Intel. Intel became the titan. I think that's where NVIDIA is right now. It's very early in this cycle. And he's talking about CapEx. These are capital expenditures that basically are hardware building out infrastructure. We are not anywhere near built out for the capacity of what AI is going to do. We're already starting to see this in so many industries. So I would also argue that there are a lot of applications. Almost every cloud product I use today, it has an AI component, an AI tool. Now, why is that important? Because AI as a tool set is going to be beneficial to that particular company, so they can just market compete. So I think he is right in the sense, much like, kind of from the big bear side of it, Google, that are saying, hey, we got to be in AI without it, hands down. So I think we're still going to see some big performance on NVIDIA. I think the big issue with NVIDIA is going to be technology. That's going to be the key that will slow it down. Artificial intelligence, big data tokens have seen their market cap soar about 131%. I anticipate we're going to continue to see projects like what you're seeing there, Near, ICP, Render, all of these. My pick is still Render as the pick for my AI token, even though I do like Near protocol, and I have some, but it's not near as popular and I think as triggered by what's going to happen with the NVIDIA market as what's going on with Render. Let's get into another thing right now. Another big issue is this statement right here from Eric Balchunas coming in from Bloomberg. CFTC just dropped a notice clearing the for spot Bitcoin ETF options to be listed. This is a second hurdle that they needed to clear. This is a big deal, and it could get listed pretty soon. I'm in agreement with this. I think this will, again, trigger another phase of investor capital coming in, and also more potential liquidity, which is what we're talking about here in the market. Because remember, liquidity is what drives these market bubbles to occur, and we could be in for that last little extension. Do not get sucked into this, guys. I'm going to just warn you right now. Don't get out there and miss. Don't try to time the top. You're never going to hit it. Get out there, make your profit, pick your winners, and move on in the market. Understand where that. Look at diversification. Don't get too heavy in these projects. Be safe. What to expect from this options launch is going to be a big question. Here's a clip.
But it looks like all systems go. When can investors and traders expect to have options on IBIT and the other ones?
Well, first, I couldn't agree with you more, Eric, on the success of IBIT and really all the spot Bitcoin ETFs that we've seen come to market going back to January. IBIT now over $40 billion, larger than the iShares Gold Trust ETF. It's, I think you pointed out last week, larger than the 2,800 ETFs that have launched in the past decade. So what a momentous milestone. The options development on IBIT is something that we've been working on over the past 10 months. So I think kind of this next step is just rounding out that digital asset ecosystem for ETF investors.
That's really interesting. So potentially as soon as tomorrow, watch this space.
All right, so she's right. I mean, of course, she's obviously talking the book, but that is something I think that a lot of investors have started to really kind of wait on. If you look at this right now, a few hundred million so far in options volume on IBIT. This is a ton for day one. Here's a rank of the contracts by volume. It's almost all calls, which is, again, very bullish going forward. I get a little bit concerned about this, but remember, now I still believe us are in a bubble. So we see all of this cutting edge, bleeding edge news. We understand what it means to the markets, but most investors are not out there on the edge of the knife. They're not out there really understanding that. So I think there's still a lot of runtime left in this market because of that. Right now, you guys are the smart ones. You're the ones that are watching all of these shows. You're catching all these early trends. You know what tokens are moving. You understand even to a certain extent what S&P means to a lot of these risk assets. So I think that is going to be the case going forward. Get ready, guys. I think it's going to be a big one. Ethereum records its historic ETF inflows. This is another signal right here that steadies the price of ETH above 3K. I will say this, ETH is still struggling above $3,000. We have not seen the trigger point happen. Question is, will it happen in this cycle? I know everybody's asking that very same question. I know Jacob Canfield was out there kind of joking around this, talking about, ETH wallets. So, but and I don't know, how far invested are you guys in on Ethereum? And it is still one of your top tokens. Have you started to reposition any of that? Maybe try to catch a wing on some of these other high flyers that are starting to move. Let me know in the comments. Drop some topics down there. Coinbase CEO is set up to meet with Donald Trump as the 2024 administration plans to take shape. And of course, I think this is a very key thing because let's face it, Coinbase, the number one, beast in the room when it comes to crypto assets. Their tie with BlackRock, also strategic. The likelihood you could have, I think, some very critical things being played out here within Trump's administration. A couple of points they make in the article. It remains unclear whether Armstrong or someone Coinbase will be involved in the administration. I don't know that they would be involved, but I'm assuming that almost all business leaders, this happens already in every administration out there, is there's always business leaders from Silicon Valley or major industry that are advising these administrations as to what's going on. Yes, it can be a little bit tricky because that is a big factor, I think, going forward, because Trump has a big plan for this. Bitcoin reserve is a real strategic reserve, is a real potential to impact Bitcoin and the rest of the digital asset market, because if that comes through and it's significant enough to move global markets, meaning other countries, mid-size, especially mid-size, and if there's any G7s that start to go this direction, that is definitely going to be interesting. Trump's True Social set to acquire crypto platform Backed. This is another move that is, I think, will be questioned quite a bit as Backed shares surged by 60%, reflecting investor optimism about the potential deal. If it does come through, that would be another verification of where the United States is going if you've got the former president going in. Proposed all-stock transaction will see the social media company come in and absorb Backed, excluding its crypto custody business, which is the one that's kind of struggled financially. So that would be the only one for sure. Take a look over here. BlackRock is BlackRock's BIDL token now first to go live on Securitize's new platform. This is something we've talked about. We've had the Securitize team on here many times with Carlos, really understanding where real world assets are going. This is the first, I think, move that starts to point out a few things within it. One point I want to hit on right here. The S tokens will provide a way for institutional investors holding RWAs issued by securitized. They can now convert these assets into DUSD. And then the joint DUSD, this is the institutional program, will open up a path for token holders to put their assets to work. So this is just being able to, for a lot of these hedge funds to really start to generate cash on this. So it's, again, very sophisticated instruments that I think are going to be benefiting many of these players out there in the market. Of course, that is the factor going forward. All right, here we go. We got Gary Gensler still out there tweeting away. Earlier this month, our SEC Gov Division of Examinations published a risk alert. Here we go, another risk alert coming in, and he's right there, November 18th. Unbelievable. This guy just does not know when to quit. I'm going to call him Mike Tyson because he just will not go down. Anyway, we got a lot of questions over in the comments. Make sure and drop some over there. We'll get to some of that. And 94K, guys, this is a big number right now. Holding at 90, I think, what is it, 93.5 right now, but hitting the 94K mark. My question is, how quick to 100 will this surge actually occur this month, or do we see this in early December? That's really where I feel that we're going to land for a Bitcoin over 100K push, but we'll see. Here, of course, is another thing to be looking at. This is the Pulsar game, and I know it's not really related to Bitcoin, but what is related are ways in which you can now invest in these. And this is non-KYC, and it almost reminds me of the old ICO, time frame that we had in crypto. This could be in the very same vein. If Gensler gets out, we get a positive regulatory environment, we might see a new ICO, IPO version of what's happening in risk assets going around right here. And that in itself could really heat things up. I don't know if many of you guys were around in those cycles, last two cycles on crypto. That was a big part of it. Don't forget, Bonk, of course, is up 14, almost 15% on the day. A lot of that is, of course, been tracing and chasing this little dog right here, Dogecoin. I want you guys to think about Doge for a second. And Doge is a meme token that has a lot of validity in the sense that it's just tied to culture. And, now we're going to have the Department of Government Efficiency, which is Doge. This awareness factor could play in even greater than that of the last cycle that we saw Doge really kind of dominate the emerging market. And remember, it is still very early from retail. Retail may not have even come in yet. So Doge could be one of the gateways for that to occur. And remember, you're talking about most of the investors that are starting to come into the market are under the age of 40. So a lot of culturally connected people, a lot of Gen Y, a lot of Gen Z that are now starting to move into the market. I was looking at some stats on a data point just the other day that over 50% of crypto right now, the almost 3 trillion, is controlled by Gen X and boomers. But the growth of the market is coming from Gen Y and Gen Z. So when that transfer of wealth, if you just look out on the horizon, 10 years, 20 years, I know many of you guys are probably thinking, what am I going to be doing in 20 years? Well, you're going to be in ultimate wealth is what you're going to be in if you're in that age group, because there's going to be a huge transfer of wealth coming in, and it may come in on things like Doge. So just be thinking about that. These projects are definitely adherent. All right, so another one to watch right here. I'm going to go to the daily real quick on this. This was a chart that we were painting out. This is Bitcoin. We had a sentiment pump right there, and of course, right now we're hitting an all-time high. Solana, let's go take a look at Solana, and also hitting in at 244. So it's holding its high for the week, and this is on the daily. Sentiment right now is very strong on Solana on our MSI, which is our own indicator. If you guys are part of our member group, you already know this. You can get this on your trading view, and it's very easy if you just go over to the indicators. If you're already a user, just click on the invite only, and you'll see that little toolkit right there that you can add to your own trading view, and it'll pop it right in there. So you can kind of see I've double layered it. But anyway, it'll give you a lot of benefits right there. We're going to take some questions. Let's go over to the poll real quick and take a look at what people are saying. What happens first? Bitcoin 95, 68, And Solana 250.17, 68. So Bitcoin's leading the dogs. I like it. And XRP in the house at 150. That would be a big move for XRP. Where are we on XRP? Let's take a gander at XRP. Going sideways the last 3 days at about $1.10. Money flow still coming in. Very positive on sentiment. I don't know. We might see a breakout coming with XRP. Avalanche holding at almost 35. This is a track that we've been tracking along for quite some time here. And it looks like it may follow along with that one. So we could see that 36 start to break out here in a couple of days. What else do we have, guys? I know many of you guys have been looking at Render. We'll take a look at Render real quick. Nice, another nice move up right there on Render. Very positive. Yeah, very positive on sentiment. All right, let's get to a few questions. Everybody's just saying they love Doge. Doge will flip Solana. Wouldn't that be something? Doge to flip Solana. Thoughts on H-bar, board member Brian Brooks being the front runner for the new chair. All right, so this is something I tweeted about the other day. Brian Brooks, because there's an interesting cadre of people that are being put up for the new SEC chair. Brian Brooks was the CEO of Binance US for 3 months, okay? Then he did kind of a roundabout in a lot of different finance capacity. There's a possibility there. That would be very interesting. But you still have Dan Gallagher as a potential. You've got Giancarlo, who is former CFTC. I don't know. I think Trump may pick someone else. And I'm not sure who it will be. I think it might be a bit of a surprise, but I think it will be a pro-crypto position. Matt says, Render all the way. I'm in agreement with you, Matt. Render is a hot token right now. Hanson says, people have no trust in ETH. They'd rather have XRP. Listen, anything is moving faster than ETH right now, guys. Anything. What do we have? There's the ETH Bitcoin. Does that look nice? I mean, let's just call it what it is. That does not look good. You don't even have to be a trader to know that does not look good. That's the ETH Bitcoin chart right there. Go into Bitcoin dominance. Starting to come back up after a nice day, hitting back to 60%, almost 61. Yeah, it made it to 61 right there. And remember, these are those time slots that really start to make you think of when altcoins really start running. Let's see here. Adam says, I used to think Sol was the best crypto, and so I got it introduced. Okay, is he joking with me? How do you get introduced to ADA? I mean, that's OG. You should already know that one's been out. I'm not making fun of you, Adam, by the way. Listen, ADA's going to run this time. They are going to run. It's going to go back to $3 or more. It's going to be a fantastic run. I love it. It's, for me, it's a little bit like watching paint dry sometimes, but it's not that way now. Do you think crypto will pump the moment he resigns? Probably. Yeah, I think we're just going to get one. He is Gensler. Gensler's, yeah, okay, not that one. Going gold now. We probably should bring Andy Schechter back on because he was a favorite of the channel. He's kind of a gold bug that understands Bitcoin, that kind of gets this digital asset market. We should probably get him back to talk about it because it'll be a good one to kind of trace on. Here we go. ETH will catch up later. What is the signal, Ivan, for ETH to catch up? That's the thing I'm trying to figure out because I'm looking at all the the bullish news, the ETFs, the RWAs, the amount of projects that are launching, the innovation. I don't understand why ETH hasn't started to really see this back to its all-time high. It's one I don't get. Paul, what do you think about HBAR? Okay, so look, HBAR Hedera has been on our radar for quite a while. I'd say multiple years. We've been in and out of it on swing trades. I don't own any at the time. I don't think I own any at the time on a portfolio, but I'm always going in and out of that token. So the key here is that governance body. The more that they continue to add on the right kind of governance members, I think the better. The other thing that could play into this is if they get involved in any of the administration. There's people talking about that could be a factor. So maybe. Love all the Doge talk from my favorite blue chip info. Never entertained it even months ago. To the moon. Well, it's not that we're talking about it. I mean, you have to talk about meme tokens because it's a cultural asset of digital markets now. and it will be, I think, forever now. It has been ingrained in how young people invest. If you just look at the gamification of Robinhood, the rise of Robinhood, that should give you an example of how meme coins and why meme coins are doing what they're doing. So just, understand, guys, sometimes you don't have to understand technology to really appreciate what it means for something. I think social media was this way in 2007 when people were kind of laughing at that. You have to remember, community is going to be one of the critical things that grows businesses and I think industries in the future, and memes have been very effective at doing that. All right, Zune Soul says, Shell says, is it what? Shell says, I think Soul's going to get hot. Yes, I agree with you. Regret not buying enough render under 50 cents and mentioned it during Jan. One thing that I kind of got hit on for was, because render is a big bag for me. I've been kind of not in and out, but repositioning some of my render, mainly so I could enter and get exposure to some other tokens that I wanted. That is something I did do, but still holding a large bag of render that I like. And I'm a big fan of what render is doing. So I think it's going to be here for a while. Here we go. Super chat. Thanks a lot. Flow plus Gensler gone. I love that. I like both those things would be good. Flow and Gensler being gone. Flow going up because Flow's been in and out. Where's that green token these days? Here we go. Flow is doing just fine. Yeah, it's doing just fine. Up to 71 cents right now. Nice little move here. If you look at the chart on the daily, money flow's starting to slow down a little bit though. So we'll see if this kind of goes sideways for a minute, which it might. And I'll have to get with the guys over in the crypto pit to take a look at the chart and see if this is maybe something we need to take a look at. Sci-Fi Guy says, yes, Robinhood, one of my main great entry points. Good for you. They have a lot of bonuses going on over at Robinhood too right now on like adding some cash, earning extra dividends. I think there's going to be a lot more deals over there for sure. Be watching that one. Hey, Paul, Armstrong is really meeting with Trump. And what about Charles Cardano being a crypto advisor? Would love to hear your thoughts. Charles may become, and what I'm talking about is Charles Hoskinson, one of the founders and key people over at Cardano and IOHK. If you look at where Cardano could go, the fact that they might be using the Ripple stablecoin as liquidity, that's another opportunity I think that will benefit Cardano holders, but just the ecosystem of Cardano, because they have needed a stablecoin so badly, and I think that's a big one. And with Ripple tying into global markets, there could be a good thing there. So I'm not knocking on that at all. Tommy Webb already hit a new time high, 100K by weekend, then 120 by end of year. Tommy Webb 3. Man, I like that icon that he's got going on. Man, that's a good looking icon there. I love it. Anyway, you guys get subscribed to the channel. Do that right now. Join our Diamond Circle. It's our own email group. And of course, we drop additional content over there. I do a special podcast over there just for our members. So check it out. We'll leave a link down below. If you guys want to catch me on X, it's @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.